Hello, hello, my darling doves. Let's talk elements for a little bit. There's a lot of different ways that you can incorporate the elements into your daily life, or particularly into your spell casting. Most Wicca and pagan practitioners will tell you that you should summon the elements into a protective circle anytime you're doing anything even vaguely casting related. Others will tell you only to do it if you feel it's absolutely necessary for a certain ceremony. A lot of times it's something that people do that they don't talk about a whole lot because it becomes second nature. So we are going to talk about the elements in order, starting with air. So air is the first element that you summon into the circle. It's going to be facing east, as we can see by my lovely compass right here. East being this direction. I have it lined up over here in our circle. It is represented by the morning or dawn, the earliest time of day since it is first arising. Its season is the spring. So if you think about the lovely smells that we get in the springtime on the breeze of flowers, the smell of rain in the air when we get spring showers, all of those things will help you feel more connected to the element when you're summoning it into your circle. The signs, of course, as we've talked about multiple times, are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And it rules over the planets, or is the associated element for the planets Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto. And Pluto is one of my planets, since I'm a Scorpio. As far as colors go, we have yellow, white, gold, and light blue. And when we think about summoning or invoking it, there are several ways to bring it into your circle other than using an elemental jar like the ones that I showed at the beginning that we have made together before. Now, you can use sounds such as bells, chimes. I have a sound bowl here, which I use for various cleansing rituals. Now, these can be quite loud or quite soft depending on how large they are. And you want to strike the edge with a mallet and then circle the inside to keep it going. I'm not going to do it at full volume right now since we're having a lovely quiet conversation, but that's the gist of how you use sounding bowls. You also don't hold them at the sides like this when you're playing. You hold them at the bottom so that the vibrations can keep going outward. But again, I'm wanting to dampen the vibration, so I'm holding it from the side. Bells, like the bells that we put together to hang over our door for safety, are also excellent. Wind chimes, inside or outside, are lovely. Also, the use of smoke and incense carried on the wind, as we do, to invoke air, to be able to see it, feel it flowing through our spaces. And if you're not using a stick incense, that's easily moved, but you're using more of a cone style incense that sits on here, or if you aren't using incense at all, or you're using a smudge stick, feathers to move the air about the space and to symbolize the birds that ride on the breeze and the currents. If we are thinking about herbs, we have, of course, our lovely cedar fronds, as well as acacia, anise, as in star anise, aspen, clover, frankincense, our good friend lavender. It's a well-known associate of air, as well as lemongrass, myrrh, pine, and yarrow. Notice how there's a collection of trees and smaller plants included. That's going to be thematically the same. Everything has a partner. If we're talking crystals, which is my specialty, we have our lovely citron with its yellow gold coloring, of course, being closely tied to air, as well as certain agates, amber, some jaspers, lepidolite, some topazes, especially golden topaz, and smoky quartz, with again the smoke rising through the air being the association there. Now, anytime that you're summoning elements to work with them, you want to think of not only what they invoke in the natural world, but what they stand for in our hearts and minds, and how we feel when we bring them in. Air is our core being. It keeps us alive. We start and end this world with a breath. It is the element that is most activated by creativity, finding that inner part of ourselves that wants to broaden its horizons. Being creative is never a chore, but it allows us to know ourselves. It also has strong associations with activity. Think of air moving freely, boisterously around, tossing leaves, flower petals, depending on the season, watching them rain down around you, almost like the wind is dancing. Clarity. Wind sweeping away the clouds, or fog, quite literally. It provides clarity. Consciousness. A brisk wind on a cold fall morning, snapping you awake. Air is also strongly associated with divination and intuition. Those sudden bursts of thoughts that you get when you know something is new, something is happening, something is changing. That is the air whispering in your ear. Things that nature needs you to know. It is also knowledge and logic. We track wind patterns when we forecast our weather and the power that lies within. Look at hurricanes. They are the elements working together. Water, and one could argue fire, in the lightning. But wind is the driving force there. Storm magic relies heavily on wind and water coming together. And there's a lot of logic and a lot of knowing in that. Air is also the bearer of memory. Think about how many smells can invoke deep memories within you and the power that that holds. Smell memory is a memory unlike any other because it can take you back to a time and place that you've never thought of in years with a 3-second hint of a baking pie on the air or fresh cookies or a specific lilac tulip in bloom. Also speech and secrets, of course. How do we communicate? Through our breath, through speeches, through whispers, through laughs. It all begins with a single breath. And our thoughts are ruled by the air because they can be very heavy or they can be very light, quick and fleeting, just like the wind itself. Other symbols of the wind would be brooms, butterflies, And you'll find that wands can be used to summon most anything. Speaking of divination and intuition, the tarot symbol associated with wind and air is actually the sword suit. Not the wands, as you may think, bending in the wind like supple tree branches, but the swords. Because swords in our cards often tell us warnings. They often tell us things may not be as they appear. And they are usually the first ones to tell us we need to take a second look at things. And that's the divination coming through, reaching out to that part of us that keeps our third eye open. I would like to thank the element air for working so closely with me, for being part of my 3 representing Gemini in my chart. I would like to thank the summer breezes that are so refreshing, especially as we're moving into that warmer time of year in the northern hemisphere here. Even living in Midwest, somewhat north-ish United States, it is already getting very hot right now. I know some of you are in the southern hemisphere, moving toward autumn and winter. I hope the weather stays pleasant for you for a while longer. And if you are having too much of a cloudy day, or just need a little pick-me-up, lift your eyes to the sky and ask the air if it would be willing to blow some of the clouds out of your life, just for a moment. We will continue this series next with the element of fire, moving around the compass through all 4. And then we will talk about what is usually, but not always, the 5th element that is not an element invited to a circle, that of spirit. Is it its own element? Is it the backbone of every element? We'll see what we decide. But in the meantime, take good care of yourself. Be kind to yourself. Always believe in yourself. I love you very much, and I will see you again soon.